Hey guys, welcome to Module 4, How to Negotiate the Offer. This is the last module, guys. You are almost at the finish line. I know you're so excited. I'm excited for you. And this is actually the most fun module of all of them for a couple reasons. A, I'm going to teach you how to maximize that job offer you get. But most importantly, there's also not a lot of homework with this module either. So I want you to really just absorb the material, take a couple notes, and let's dive in and teach you how to maximize that offer, okay? What we're going to learn today is, first of all, that negotiating begins during the interview process. Now, we touched on this in the interview module. I'm going to do a quick recap because it's really important because it sets up the negotiation process. I'm also going to teach you how to maximize that job offer. We want to get as much money as we can for you when you get that job. And part of that is we got to create leverage. And so I'm going to teach you today how you create leverage to maximize that offer. I'm going to go through the 3 different negotiating strategies based on what kind of offer it is, whether it's good, great, or sucks, right? We have 3 different strategies to maximize that offer. And then lastly, I'm going to teach you why you've got to negotiate salary last. It's a big mistake that a lot of people make, and we're going to fix it so you don't make that mistake. Now, as I mentioned, negotiating the offer begins during the interview process. And it's really, really important, guys, because there's 2 key interview questions that can cost you money. First is, what is your current salary? And the second question you'll get from interviewers is, what are your salary expectations? Let's go through how we handle this. So, answering the salary question wrong will cost you thousands of dollars, or even worse, potentially the job itself. And before we get to the question, guys, here is the ugly truth. It doesn't matter what the salary range for the position is, okay? Almost every salary offer is made based on your current salary. And you rarely get a raise of more than 10%. Guys, this is just the way that companies are hardwired. It's ridiculous, it's not fair, but it's life. Like, it just is what it is. But knowing this going into the process, we can do some things to mitigate that risk and still maximize your offer, okay? Your negotiation starts the minute you answer that salary question. And we want to avoid answering that salary question altogether, because if they don't know what your current salary is, it's really hard for them to base their offer on your current salary. So our strategy is, we don't want them to know what our current salary is. And there's some things we can do to handle that. When you're filling out the application, what I recommend you do, and very few jobs require applications today, but sometimes you will, even for whether you're a new grad or whether you're a seasoned veteran. Sometimes some companies ask you to fill this out. We recommend just don't put the salary number in there. I know there's a box in the application. Just avoid filling it out. Like, they might ask you about it, that's fine, but avoid filling out. We don't want to tell them unless we have to. That being said, honesty is the best policy. And because of that, if they ask you the question, okay, if they ask you about your current salary, you got to answer the question, guys. You can't avoid it, because if you avoid it, you're going to look skittish, you're going to look not honest and not a lot of integrity. Trust me, I've dealt with this on the recruiting side. It's a big red flag for recruiters when potential candidates won't answer this question. So our first go-to default is we give a range, and we talk in total compensation terms. My total comp's around 60 or 100 or 150 or whatever the number is. Okay, but you give a range, like the mid 100s, low 100s, high 60s, low 80s, like whatever it is. But you do it in a total compensation number, so you try to avoid them pinning you down on an exact salary number. Okay? If they press the issue, you just need to be honest and let them know what it is, okay? Now, I'm going to take a break here in that for people who don't want to be honest, for people who want to inflate their salary, look, you can do whatever you want. I'm not here to police you. You can do what you want. Understand the risk if you do that. If you, let's say you make $50K and you tell them you make $60K, a couple things can happen. A, you can price yourself out of a job, but B, is if they go do a background check on you, companies can confirm compensation information today based on background checks. So you got to be really, really careful. It's up to you. You've got to make the decision on how much risk you want to lean into. But if you lie on your salary, you got to know the risk you're going in on. I'll let you make your own call, but that's the risk, okay? And only give it if they press. Do not give the salary number unless they press. Like, hopefully, most people, if you diffuse it with the first question, that's going to handle 90% of the people. They're not going to probe deeper. When asked, the second question is, what's your salary expectations? Okay, that's a standard question you're going to get. And the first time they ask it, what you want to say is, what you want to do when they ask that question is say, I'm focused on total compensation. I don't really know how the benefits stack up, so it's difficult for me to give you an exact number. But right now, I'm most focused on finding the right opportunity. I know you guys pay competitively. I'm sure the numbers will take care of itself. That's how we want to address it first. And note that when you do that, 90% of the time, there won't be a follow-up question. That will diffuse most recruiters, most interview requests or interviewers, and so we've set that issue aside. However, if they ask a second time, you have to answer it, guys. And when you answer, always give a range, okay? Because if you shoot too high, they may not offer you a job. But if you go too low, you're going to leave money on the table. So you want to give a range when you're doing it. Let's say you want to make $120,000. The way I would answer that is, well, I'm looking for a total compensation package in the low to mid 100s. Notice how I didn't give a real number there? Because I don't want to lock myself in. I want to give a wide range so I don't leave money on the table, but I don't price myself out of a job. And typically, we recommend a range of between 5 and 20% raise. That's about what you can expect to get. But it's, once again, be as vague as you can when you answer that question. Okay, now, congratulations. They've made you an offer. Now what do, right? Well, first of all, never, ever, ever, ever accept an offer when it's given, because you want to go ahead and absorb the information and come back to them. It's not the time to accept. You want to leave room to negotiate. So once that offer has been presented to you, here's what I want you to do. First of all, thank them profusely for the offer. Guys, it's one of the things where people can get screwed up is they get so focused on the money, and that comes across the employers. And if you're just about the money, that's going to turn employers off. People want people that want them. So whether the offer is great or even if it's horrible, you need to show how excited you are. Talk about how awesome the company is, how great the people are you met, how you could see yourself working there, how you could have a long-term career there. No matter what, you've got to really demonstrate enthusiasm for the job, because that's one of the pieces that can allow us to get more money, is if they know you're excited, okay? In addition, you want to ask them, how long do you have to think about it? Now, typically, if you get an offer early in the week, let's say Monday or Tuesday, usually a reasonable expectation is that you've got till the end of the week to make a decision. If the offer doesn't come till Wednesday or later, a reasonable expectation is for you to have an answer back to them on Monday, okay? But usually you only get 3 or 4 days. That's it. You don't get a lot longer than that. So don't go in expecting to have a couple weeks. And I know that stinks sometimes if you've got maybe you're interviewing a couple other places and you're waiting for some offers to come in. Really, really difficult to stretch it out. I'll teach some tricks in ways that you can maybe stretch it out a little longer, but typically that's a reasonable ask on your part, is if it's Monday or Tuesday to have at the end of the week, if it's Wednesday or later to have over the weekend, give them an answer on Monday. When they make the offer, on the call, whether it's in person, it's really important that you get all the information you can. And I'm talking about stuff like vacation, retirement, health insurance, bonuses, how the bonuses are paid, etc. You want to get all that information, especially in the bonus piece. You understand what's the driver of the bonus, how is that determined, what's the track record of paying out on the bonus. That's one of the things people don't ask, and it's a key piece of information is okay, great, I get a 10% bonus. What's your 5-year track record of paying that? Do people get bonuses every year, or is it once every 5 years? Really important to understand that. In addition, we don't want to negotiate until at least 1 day after we get the offer. Right, we want to make them sweat a little bit, and we want to really gather our thoughts and plot our strategy so we can maximize that offer. Now, once you get all the information, it's time to negotiate, guys, okay? And there's 5 key areas that we can go back and negotiate on. The first one is what I'm going to call other benefits. The second one's vacation, the annual bonus, the salary, and the signing bonus. And I'm going to go through each one of these for some strategies. So for other benefits, that's stuff like, time off. Let's say it's July and you've gotten an offer and your family has a trip planned in October, right? You've already got it done and, you've already got the tickets bought. One of the things you want to do is, these are one of the first things you want to negotiate before you get any further down the list. And by the way, that's the order in which I want you to negotiate. You do other benefits first, then vacation, then annual bonus, then salary, and then signing bonus. We go in this order, and there's a big reason why. The main one being is that because once you negotiate salary, guys, that's it. In their minds, once you agree to a number on salary, they think they have a deal. So you can never go back after that and start asking about vacation and time off. You got to get salary last. You want to get all the other things done first, and then we negotiate salary. And I'll throw in why I did signing bonus at the end here in a second. So if you've got a vacation come up in October, say, hey, you just kick things off. First of all, start off being really excited. When you come back to negotiate, you've got to say, once again, continue to demonstrate your enthusiasm throughout the entire negotiation. Start off the call how excited you are, how you can't wait to work there, and you keep peppering that in throughout the negotiation multiple times. And I've had people I've coached in this who think I'm crazy. Like, really? I have to do that? Yes, you do, because I tell you what, it softens them up and will help you tremendously in getting their numbers up. So time off, that kind of stuff. Not extra vacation, that's next. Okay? If you relocation, if you're moving to a new area, right, you can negotiate on relocation expenses potentially, and any kind of other kind of benefits that are out there. On the vacation time, most companies' stated vacation policy is 2 weeks. And if you have a little experience, let's say you're a recent grad or whatever else, you're probably not going to get much movement on that. If you're an experienced hire, even let's say you got 20 years experience, still some companies have a stated policy of 2 weeks. I will tell you it's pretty easy to get companies to bend to 3. Okay? And once again, once you do the other benefits first, then you want to negotiate vacation. And the way you want to frame it up is that, like I said, you can get to 3 weeks, but you're not going to get more than that. It's rare you're going to get 4 or 5 weeks. Let's say you've got 25 years experience and you're coming from a company that has 4 or 5 weeks of vacation a year. It's difficult to repeat that, guys. I'm just telling you, it rarely, if ever, happens. The only places are places like accounting firms or whatever else that work you to death, and then they've got a longer vacation policy. But 3 weeks is a reasonable expectation. Now, when negotiating for vacation, it's really important that you make it clear that you're going to work your butt off. You don't want to give the impression that you don't want to work. And that's an impression people can get when you're negotiating vacation. So you want to preface this, hey, when you get the vacation policy, say, I know you guys have 2 weeks. I would really like to get to 3. I currently have 3, or I have 4, or whatever else. And understand, I'm going to work my butt off, but I value my vacation. I value it for a couple reasons. Either A, you like to travel, or maybe you have family out of state, or whatever it is. Give some reasons, but make it clear that you're going to work your butt off, but you also value your vacation when you're off. So 3 weeks is a reasonable expectation, and most of the times you're going to get that. It's also, vacation is usually a little easier for them to bend on than salary. So I would attack, it's where you can probably get a little more flexibility. On the annual bonus, okay, and some jobs have annual bonuses, some don't. On the annual bonuses, understand that most companies have defined bonus percentage based on level, whether you're a manager or a director or a VP. Those are preset, and so rarely is there room to move on the annual bonus, unless you're maybe going to a small company where they don't have more structured compensation package. Very difficult to get people to move on annual bonus. So you can try, but this is an area where I'd encourage you to be flexible, because there's usually not a lot of movement from the company side. And you don't want to hit bonus percentage too hard unless it's a commission job. If it's a commission-based environment, then you might want to focus a little more on bonus because they have a bigger impact. It's a larger percentage of your income. For most people, salary is 80-90% of your compensation. So we want to focus mostly on that. And when you do this, you want to ask if there's flexibility in the bonus structure, because sometimes there is and sometimes there's not. And as part of the clarifying questions, you need to understand how the bonus is determined. When you go through the bonus, ask them what their 5-year track record is, and ask them, how is the bonus determined? Is it just based on company performance? Is it based on personal performance, or a combination of the two? And then you inquire, okay, so what's if let's say the target bonus is 10%, ask them, for my type of role, for the last 5 years, what's your history, what's your track record of paying bonus? Because that's going to let you know how real the bonus is. It's also going to feed into our leverage on salary. Because some companies, they set their bonus to get it. So you get it last 5 years, everybody's got one 5 years, and it pays out almost near 10% every year. Other companies, the way their bonus structure is, like, you're lucky if you get it 1 in 5 years. That's really important to know when you're evaluating the total compensation package, to know how real is that bonus, and can I rely on it or can't I? Because if I can't, then I'm going to need a higher salary, especially if you're coming from a company where you've got a reliable bonus and you include that in your total comp. Salary. This is the most important part of the negotiation, probably the place where we're going to spend the most time, okay? Understand, companies usually have a little more flexibility in salary than on bonus, but most companies, if they're large companies, still operate within salary bands, okay? And as I mentioned earlier, you got to make sure you negotiate salary last. Once you agree to a salary number, the employer thinks they have a deal. So make certain we've gotten all the soft things negotiated first, and then we'll focus on salary. Now, some companies aren't going to have flexibility here, but you won't know unless you ask. And we should always ask, no matter what scenario, even if they give you a great offer, we still want to try and get it up. We'll just use a little different strategy. And understand, as I mentioned earlier, most companies aren't going to give you more than a 10% raise from your current salary, so avoid sharing the current salary if at all possible. Signing bonus. Some companies give signing bonuses, some do not, okay? Not all companies pay signing bonus, but if they do, it's usually the number they have the most flexibility in because it's a one-time payment. They're not locking themselves in. And we save negotiating bonus for last in this case because in case they don't move on salary, let's say they're really stuck on salary, they can't move, one of the ways we might get that first year compensation up is we can come back to signing bonus. So think of it as, okay, we got all the soft skills negotiated and now we got salary and they won't move. Then we can throw in at the end and say, well, what about a signing bonus? That might be a way you can close the gap. Especially if you're relocating or moving, you can definitely make a case for a signing bonus. And if they say no on your salary negotiations, like I said, we can come back to sign on bonus. Okay, so some tips for every negotiation, guys. First of all, you're going to see a theme throughout this. You've got to demonstrate how excited you are to work at the company, to take the job, how impressed you are with the people, and you do it multiple times. If you're in a call for negotiation, you kick off the negotiation that way. You pepper it in the middle of the negotiation. You close the end of the negotiation of how excited you are because people want people that want them, and they are more likely to give you more money if they sense that enthusiasm that you really want to work at that company. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, you're not buying a car, okay? So when the negotiation's done, they still need to like you once you take the offer because they're probably going to be your boss. So it's really important as we go through this process that they like us. So our goal is not to squeeze every little ounce of blood out of the turnip because you can do that, but you're going to walk into a hostile work environment. We don't want to do that, okay? We want to make sure they like us after the negotiation is done. And if they say no on your salary negotiating, okay, so the three compensation negotiating strategy, guys, there's three here based on how good the offer is. The first one I'm calling going for the gold, and that's if we want to maximize an offer. Two, if we're in the ballpark, let's say that they're close to what we're looking for, and we're kind of ready to accept, but we're not there. We really need to get them up a little bit. The third strategy is, hey, you're taking it no matter what, right? We just want to make sure we just want to try and get the offer if we can, but the offer's already good enough, or you don't have any other options. For whatever reason, we just want to get a little bit more money, but we don't want to take any risks. So I'm going to go through each one of these strategies for you. So going for the gold. This is when you're really trying to get that number up, and it could be that either A, you're not very excited about the company or the job, or the offer is super low, or whatever reason is that we're going to really try and ratchet this thing up and go for big bucks, okay? In order to do that, we're going to need to create some massive leverage, and I'll go through some pieces of how we do that, okay? You're going to anchor their number higher than what you're hoping for. So, for example, if I want to make 65, I'm probably going to anchor them to 70 because I got to give them room to come down a little bit. And then, you need to let them know you're ready to accept if you get a specific offer. So, the second kind is if what I call we're in the ballpark. And in this case, so if they made an offer in the ballpark, guys, and what I mean by that is, let's say you wanted, let's say you wanted 48,000 and they made an offer for 45, for example. Well, you're in the ballpark, right? And it's a company you're excited about. Then in that case, and that's a job that we're going to take a little different tack. So, like, you're close to accepting, but you really need a little bit of movement to get there. We still need to create some leverage. The last one is if you're taking the job, but you still want to maximize the offer, guys. So in that case, like, you're going to take the job, but you need their help a little bit, okay? And we'll go through that. We use the subtle ask approach here to extract maximum value, and we're going to continue to reiterate that we'll be accepting, but an increase of X would make it a lot easier for you to accept, okay? And once again, make sure they know how excited you are. I repeat that over and over. What happens during the negotiation, guys? Well, they usually won't agree to a number on the phone once you ask. They usually need to get approval, okay? However, sometimes they are empowered to go ahead and make the call. In which case, you need to have your walkaway number in mind in case they're empowered to negotiate. Let's say you go back and you ask for 50, hoping to get to 48 because their offer was 45, and they come back at 47. So that's the best they can do. You really got to be prepared to think about, like, what is my walkaway number, okay? Because if they're moving, you got to be realistic in what you want to do as well. They've extended you an offer, guys, so they want to hire you. So understand, they want to get a deal done. That's their goal. They're negotiating from that point of view. Keep that in mind as we go through it. And it's important they don't think that you only care about the money. I can't stress this enough. And that's why the enthusiasm needs to come through, because if they think you're just caring about the dollars, that's it, that will turn them off, and they could pull the offer, or they could just not negotiate at all. Some key phrases you need to use when you negotiate. I'd be more comfortable if we could get closer to, pick a number, 50, 60, 100, whatever the number is. Do you have any flexibility in that number? Can you help me understand a key phrase we want to use through our negotiation? And once again, make certain you demonstrate excitement. Now, some leverage points we can use, and for every one of these, you're going to want to have some leverage because that's the way you can get them to move. One of those examples, so if your current salary is higher or close to their offer, you can use that as a leverage point of why they need to get their offer up. Okay? If you have other offers in hand or on the way, let's say that you're making $60K, their offer is for $65K or $70K, but you know you've got offers coming in the 70s, right? You can use that as leverage. And it could be that actual offers in hand, or you're expecting, or you're talking to companies. They don't need to be real offers, right? You expect an offer, you can totally use that as leverage. Let's say you're expecting a raise in your current job. Another leverage point you can use to get their number up. If there's gaps in the benefits packages. And that's why when we do our information gathering, guys, we want to make certain we really understand the nuances and the differences between their healthcare insurance, their 401k matching, any other secondary benefits. Those are real dollars. And so if their package isn't as good as your current package, that's absolutely something we can leverage in our salary negotiation. Say, hey, like my health insurance is going to cost me $3,000 a year more with your package versus mine. Those are real dollars. You got to make up for that in base. Or if you're relocating to a higher cost living area, let's say you live in Dallas, Texas, and you're moving to San Francisco where the cost of living is double or triple. That's absolutely, regardless of what your salary is kind of irrelevant in that point of view. They may not see it that way, but you do because it's going to cost you 2 or 3 times as much to live in San Francisco. Definitely a leverage point you can use in your negotiation. Okay. If you use another offer for leverage, make certain they know that you are their first choice. Really important. And the way you go about this is say, hey, I'm really excited. Once again, excitement. I love people I met. I love the company. I see a long-term career, blah, 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 blah. But I've got this other offer that's $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 more, whatever the number is, right? But you're really my first choice. I really want to come there. Is there anything we can do to close the gap? Okay, it's important once again that they know they're your first choice. You're trying to work with them, but it's hard for you to walk away from another number. Okay, once again, people want to be wanted, so make certain they feel that way. They're more likely to move on the number. Let's go through an offer example. So let's say Kaylee, for example, let's say the offer is for a $45,000 base and a 10% bonus and 2 weeks of vacation. Okay, that's their offer. And Kaylee's fine with the 10% bonus, but she wants a base of $50K. Okay? So really, guys, I had to slide out of place. So let's say her offer is for $45K and she had a 10% bonus and she had a 2 weeks vacation. Okay, I'm going to go through each one of these scenarios. So scenario one is if, let's say she's going for the gold. Let's say that, she isn't super interested in that offer, but if she can get the number up, she may take it, or she could potentially use it as leverage. So she's going to shoot to get that offer in the low 50s, which is significantly higher than 45, and she's going to try to get the 3 weeks vacation. So here's how she does it. Kaylee first starts off by thanking them, telling how excited she is, how she loved the people, how she sees a long-term career, etc., etc. She first asks for 3 weeks vacation, and we went through the vacation piece ahead of time. I'll go through it again. She mentions that, hey, I will work my butt off. It's just I value my vacation time. I like to travel. I have family out of state or out of town or whatever it is, right? So she focuses on that first. When she gets to the compensation number, she lets it be known that she needs a total compensation number in the upper 50s, okay, which is a lot higher than we're at. We want to anchor them higher than we're looking to go when we're really shooting for the gold, okay? In order to justify that ask, she's got to have some leverage. She can use, if her current pay's higher, if she's about to get a raise, if she has other offers, and that's probably the best one. She could use words like, well, I'm talking to this company or that company, and I'm expecting an offer in the high 50s. Right now, she may not actually have an offer. She may not even have had past a phone screen, right? But she didn't lie there. She just said, hey, I'm talking to company X, and I'm expecting an offer in the upper 50s, right? So it's, in that case, and that may totally be plausible based on the research she's done, etc. She doesn't actually have the offer. The best leverage is actual offers you have, right? But if you're trying to create some, you can use phrases like that to create some leverage for yourself. Okay, you use whatever, you go through the entire offer where there's gaps in the benefits packages, and you can stack stuff too. It could be, hey, based on my current job and your offer, I got to spend $3,000 more in insurance. I'm about to get a raise as well, and I'm getting these other offers in the upper 50s. So the more you can stack, as to reasons why, you can leverage that for the upper 50s. Now, she's really shooting high. If her offer was 45, the chances of her getting it up into the 50s is probably pretty small, right? She's really shooting the moon here because she's really not that interested in the job. And so she's going to use it. If she gets it up, great, or she can use it to get use it as leverage for another company, potentially, right? But she'll hopefully get it up some. This is a risky strategy, guys, and you only use it if you're really not interested in the job, okay? That's the only time you're going to use the going for the gold strategy. Now, scenario number 2 is, let's say we're in the ballpark, okay? So she's happy with the offer, but her target was really $48K in a base and 3 weeks vacation. In this scenario, once again, she's going to thank him and show her excitement. She first asked for the 3 weeks vacation. Remember, see the theme here, guys. We're going to go through the soft things first and then close with the salary piece, okay? When she gets to the compensation number, she's going to ask them, I'm really interested in the job, but I'd really like to see this number closer to 50. Do you have any flexibility there? And then she justifies it with her leverage. Once again, the 5 key areas that we can get leverage from: her current pay, whether she's about to get a raise, if she has other offers, she expects other offers, or there's gaps in benefits packages. You want to, when you go through this, guys, you want to get all those pieces down and understand how you're going to stack those and use those for leverage, okay? And she uses phrases like, can we get closer to 50? I'd be more comfortable with 50. Can you help me out, etc. Okay? Now, scenario number 3, this is where, she's going to accept no matter what. I mean, let's just say she's happy with the offer. She's ready to accept, either A, because she doesn't have any other offers and she has no choice, or maybe she wanted 40 and they actually came up to 45. That's already more than she expected. We still want to negotiate. We still want to try and get as much money out as we can. It's just, we want to use a much softer approach and not take any risk of losing the offer. So in this scenario, once again, kicks off by thanking them and telling them how excited she is. She asked for the 3 weeks vacation. And then when it comes to the compensation piece, she tells them that she is going to accept no matter what. But it would make it a lot easier for her if she could get closer to 50. Here's how the way that would go. She'd call in, has a small talk, gets excited, talks about 3 weeks vacation, and then she says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. HR person, I'm really excited, and by the way, I'm going to accept, but I want to see if I can get your help on something. It's just, the offer's 45, is there any way we can get closer to 50? Now understand, I'm accepting anyways, but either I have lots of student loans, or I've got to move, or I've got another offer that's higher, but I really want to come work here, and I'm going to accept either way. But if we can get closer to 50, it would just really make it so much easier for me. I can't tell you guys how many times this works. I've used it with a tremendous amount of clients that when they're going to take it anyway, because either A, it's their only offer, or B, they're really excited about it to begin with. But by doing this, I will tell you, I'd say probably 9 times out of 10, we get movement from the company on this to get their number up. So if you're going to accept something, now understand you can't back out if you take this approach. That's why you only use this approach if you're really going to accept. Okay, but using this, you can get a couple extra bucks out of the offer, and everybody feels good at the end of the day. Now, some final thoughts. Remember, you're not buying a car. You want these people to still like you after the negotiation. You're ultimately going to work for them, and it is critical that you over-communicate how excited you are and how much you love the idea of working for them. I cannot understress this. It's critical to the success of your negotiation, and it will help them want to pay you more. People want people who want them. Remember that through the negotiation. Congratulations, guys. That's it. You've completed the program. You know everything you need to go make an awesome resume, to know how to interview and turn those interviews into job offers, how to market that resume to multiple companies, and ultimately how to negotiate and get the best offer you can. I've really enjoyed it. When you succeed, please send me your emails and your stories. I love to hear about success stories. But thanks for joining the program, guys, and good luck.